Hi guys, welcome back to the kitchen. My name is Dee Dee and this is For Your Heart and Home. This week I'm sharing 3 of our favorite easy breakfasts, all made with whole grains. We've got fluffy pancakes, chocolate chip muffins, and a puffed Courgette wheat granola made with no oats. These are breakfast options that make breakfast times in the morning so much easier for us, and the beauty of this is that you can make them ahead of time. You can freeze the pancakes or even the muffins, and it makes a really easy grab and go breakfast option. To start, I'm using my Nutrimil Harvest to milled hard white wheat for the muffins and the pancakes. If you've never used freshly milled flour before, you're in for a treat. It's more flavorful, more nutritious, and makes the best baked goods. So let's start with the pancakes. These are light, fluffy, and super simple. There are no fancy ingredients, and I love how this is really customizable to your family's taste. I cook a lot by look and feel of the batter, especially when using freshly milled flour. You have to be a little flexible there, but I will give you the recipe that I'm loosely following. I'm using 1.5 cups of freshly milled soft white wheat, or you could also use hard white wheat. I am using 1 tablespoon of baking powder, a half teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, 1.5 cups of milk, and you can substitute that for water or any other milk alternative of your choice, 2 tablespoons of melted butter or oil, and 1 tablespoon of honey or sugar or other sweetener of your choice. Many times when I'm cooking, I am doubling recipes. We are a family of 5, and so I like to make extras. So we will consume some of this today, and then I like to have some put away in the freezer for other days throughout the week. That way I don't have to make pancakes every time my children want pancakes. Once the batter is mixed, I let it sit for just a few minutes. This helps the fresh flour absorb the liquid. Then onto a hot skillet they go. Flip when you see bubbles and the edges look like they have set. These are a weekend favorite in our house, and like I said, they freeze well too. If you want to make a big batch ahead of time, this is perfect for busy school mornings if you have to get your children out the door. I know as a homeschooling family, it helps us as well. I can get the children up in the mornings. They can help themselves to a breakfast while I'm taking care of something else before we start our homeschooling day. So for us, this is an easy option for easy breakfast in the morning. Next, I'm going to share my chocolate chip muffin recipe. And if you've watched this channel at all, you know how much we love muffins. I love muffins because they're quick and easy. My kids love them. They're customizable. They last over several days and they're still fresh and yummy. So for me, muffins are definitely a go-to. These muffins are soft, just sweet enough, and perfect if you want to have lunch boxes packed, if you're making snacks to go out. These are just perfect for any time of day. Here is the recipe that I'm loosely following. You can use 2 cups of freshly milled soft white wheat. I like to use hard white wheat as my all-purpose. If you've been following me for a while, you know that we have transitioned from using commercially milled flour that you get at the store, and now I'm milling my own flour. So I don't have any kind of commercially milled flour in my home. And I have found that hard white wheat works as a very good all-purpose flour because it can make those nice, soft, fluffy baked goods, but it also has the structure to make something like a sandwich loaf. And so for me, to keep it simple, I usually pull for hard white wheat. But for this recipe, you can use 2 cups of freshly milled soft white wheat. You're going to need 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 eggs, 3/4 cup of milk. You could also substitute water or milk alternatives, half cup melted butter or oil, 1 teaspoon vanilla, and 3/4 cup chocolate chips. Now, if you're going to substitute other things in the place of, for example, milk, or if you want to replace the eggs with a flaxseed egg, which I often do, understand that the texture of your batter will also change. But the more you continue to work with the batter, you'll get to feel and see what works best for you, for your environment. These recipes are given as a guide, but we are working with different tools. We have different measuring styles. Our stoves have different temperatures, and so this is just a guide to get you to a finished product that you and your family can enjoy. So once my batter comes together, again, since I'm using freshly milled flour, I like to have it sit for a little while to allow it to absorb, but not too long, since the baking soda and baking powder will become active once they are in the batter. So a few minutes, no more than about 5 minutes, to allow it to sit. I like to use a cookie scoop or my measuring cup to get it evenly distributed in my muffin tin. Then you're going to bake these at about 350 for about 18 to 20 minutes. At the 18-minute mark, you want to start testing to see if a toothpick will come out clean. If you need a little bit more time, just stick it back in the oven and let it rest. I love that you can switch up these chocolate chip muffins for other fillers like blueberries, nuts, dried fruit. Now that it's the fall season, you can make it pumpkin spiced or apple spice, since those spices are more readily available. You can do so much with muffins. I absolutely love this as an easy grab and go breakfast or snack option in our home. And finally, something a little different and something I've shared before, but I really do like this as an alternative option to traditional granola mixes. This is a puffed Courgette wheat no oat granola. And the oats have been replaced with this puffed Courgette wheat. It's crunchy, slightly sweet, and perfect if you like to top it on your yogurt, or you can drink it with milk as a cereal. You can do so many things with this. So here's a recipe that I'm loosely following, and I've made this many times, and almost every time I use different ingredients. Why? Because it's super customizable, and I use the ingredients that I have on hand. I'm not going out to run and replace one ingredient that I may or may not be missing. And so as long as I have my Courgette wheat as my base, I can pretty much toss anything else into this granola and it comes out perfect every time. So here is a puffed Courgette granola recipe. You will need 4 cups of puffed Courgette wheat, half cup of chopped nuts. This can be almonds, pecans, cashews, peanuts, anything that your family enjoys eating. I also use a half cup of seeds. This could be flaxseed, sunflower seed, pumpkin seeds, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a pinch of salt, and you can skip this if you're using nuts that are already salted, 1/3 cup of honey or maple syrup or other sweetener of your choice, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil or butter, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. This is really easy to pull together and something that I like to do, especially at night. If I look around and I see, oh, we are running low on something, granola is something that I can easily whip up in no time. You're going to mix everything together, spread it out, and bake it at 300 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. You don't even want it to go too long because you just want to toast lightly the ingredients. You don't want it to burn. And you definitely want to stir it halfway through. Then you're going to pull it from the oven and allow it to cool and crisp up. Again, this has become a staple in our pantry and it's totally customizable depending on what you love. Once it has completely cooled, I like to add 3/4 of a cup of raisins and 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips. I add those at the end so that the chocolate chips are not melted and that the raisins don't become too hard. I mix this all together, I store it in a mason jar, and I stick it in my refrigerator. You can store this in your pantry if you allow it to dry out completely, but for us, I find it's just easier to store it in the refrigerator. And again, you can add anything of your choice that your family enjoys. I've added hemp seed to this, I've added ground flaxseed meal. I've added a lot of things to this and my kids really enjoy it. I hope this gave you a few new ideas to try in your kitchen. If you're using freshly milled flour or thinking about it, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're baking. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Until next time.